guys, how's it going? On this week's episode, we're going to go over the cabinet bases and how I make cabinet doors for the inside. So let's get into this week's episode. So as you can see, maybe you can, I'll bring one of these. I've got my pocket holes cut, screws ready to go. I did confirm the measurement for the Whipco 8735. It is 10.5 by 7, like we thought. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this corner situated. I've got this clamped. I broke all my big clamps, so this is going to be challenging for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some glue. I got the screws in there, so I'm ready to roll. I always put it toward the back edge. Less chance it drips over the finished side. And if it does drip over the finished side, come on. You just take a wet washcloth with just water, and it wipes right off. So it's real nice and good. So get some nice glue on there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure it's square. Everything else in the camper so far has been square. So we'll make sure that's square. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to clamp right on top of this. What that's going to do, so it's going to keep that seam nice and flat. And then I'm going to take another one over here and drop it on there. That way it just kind of holds everything. Then I'll take my screws, or my drill, still keeping pressure on this side. So when you push, it doesn't undo your clamps. Don't go crazy, you don't want to strip them. So there's one. Then I'm just going to, now because my big clamps are broke, otherwise you can take your big clamps and just clamp them where they need to go, glue them all, clamp them, and go. You know, get them all done at one time. So I'm just going to do one corner at a time. So now I'm going to move this down to where this is on the corner. The key to this is being able to clamp it to keep, oh, we gotta go this way, to be able to keep everything flat on the same plane. So go ahead and put a little glue on this one. Should have filled the glue bottle. Line that up with your mark. Make sure it's square. And it is. Clamp it in place. Run the screws home. Just keep moving it, keep doing the same thing. You see the joints are real nice and tight, flush. Hopefully it looks just the same on the other side. It feels like it. So we'll go on to the next one here. Sorry, bumped you with the camera with this here. It was looking a little sketchy anyway. Still in frame there? Yep. me. That's an accident waiting to happen. You got those all good and square. The other one should be the exact same if you measured and cut everything, right? It should be the exact same as the lower one that we just installed all this to. So now, push this back and just do the same thing. Just keep. So we're just going to go ahead and clamp this. We're not going to move that right this second. See? Now, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to glue all these surfaces. When you do it this way, you have to glue all these surfaces and get them. Because once they're in, you can't. I mean, you have a little wiggle room, but you don't want to break anything. So. Now we have the basic layout. It's the base frame here. So now we can flip it over. This is your finished product. If there's any glue that needs to be wiped, now's the time. See, we got nice level joints. Looks really, really nice. You can always double check your measurements. Make sure nothing moved on you. 10.5, and then the 7 we'll put in. I haven't made that measurement. Which is obviously 10.5. Let me go cut that real quick. Make a mark on the back here. Well, this is the front. So let's flip it back over. We're going to mark 7 inches. inches. We'll have to cut the pocket holes, which I guess I could do on camera, show you how I do them. It's no big deal. And then double check. 7 inches. 7 inches. Okay, so what I have here, I think this is the K30 Kreg Jig. This is already set to 3/4. I just got to set this to 3/4, and the reason that is it's 3/4 inch both directions, so that's the stock I'm using. If you don't know how to use a Kreg Jig, you can look it up in the owner's manual, and it tells you how to adjust for different depths of cut. I always choose the best side that looks the best. I'll take one of these. I always use a clamp that has something that will protect the finished side. Clamp that on. I think my battery will die before you do that. And of course it did, like I said. This is Type on 3. Type on 2 is better for this kind of stuff just because it sands a little easier if you happen to forget to wipe some off. So now we're going to do the same thing. Line it up with the mark. Check your square. Well, it's kind of hard to do when you got a clamp in your way. Before you go and attach it, double check. And we're good. Never hurts to clamp down a piece too, so let's do that so nothing moves on us. Now it's tacked, it won't move. Run the other two home. You're going to confirm your measurement once again, because once this glue dries, it's next to impossible without removing. 7 inches, 7 inches, 10 and a half, 10 and a half. Perfect. So now there's your base. The way that's going to work, this will be where the converter goes. We'll put a piece of, now I'll sand this up a little bit, put a little filler in there, make it look good. We'll put a piece of the same skinning material on the back of this so we can install whatever we want. Or we could put another piece of this wood just in a thicker diameter to make it all match. But I think it'll look good because it'll contrast with the ceiling and all the other wood that we used for the skinning process. That's what I'm going to put in here. And then we'll put our little 12-volt power point built into that panel. And the wiring will be real easy because it just goes right up behind the converter. So pretty simple. You can make a shelf out of that. Lots of different things you could do. It's not ready to be installed. I can get the information I need off of this now, because now I know how big the openings are going to be and how big the cabinet doors need to be. Okay guys, so what I'm doing here is these are the upper styles for my cabinet, but these are the styles for the upper cabinet, or for the cabinet doors. These are the rails, you know, so they go like this. These doors are 14 by 20 and there's two of them. 14 by 20. Then we'll put pocket holes and screw them in, glue them, get everything ready. Gotta do all four like that. What I'm looking for is the best side. I want the holes, the pocket holes in the bad side. Now we have both doors ready to assemble. So I'll do one down here first. So I got my pocket hole screws here. I'm going to do this side first. Then I'll flip it and clamp the other side and do it the same way. I will take another piece of nice scrap wood that I have, lay it on top and router around it. So lay it on top, I'm going to put both doors on there so they have the same pattern. At one time attach it temporary, with a few staples. Now I'm going to run the router around it. Until then, I've got another door to make, so I won't make you sit through that, but that's how it goes. Pretty decent. That's how it is in the back. That's how it'll look in the front. And then, here, let me show you. Pretty nice piece of wood. Trim it off, but there you go. You got a nice door. Alright, well, I'm not going to bore you and make you watch through the next one, so I'll assemble that and then measure for the hinges. I'm going to wait for Cricket to get home and she can poly them and we'll put them on. There you have it. Two nice doors. For the frames anyways, so there they are. Exact same size. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip them over. Find a nice spot on this wood here. I don't care about this edge because I'm just going to cut it anyways. So it looks pretty nice right here. I think I can fit both doors, so that's where we're going to go with it. Try to get myself one edge perfect, like right on the edge. So you have a good place to start the router. You're going to get the crown stapler and staple it in a couple of different places, and then we'll get the router out and trim it. Let the router handle the rest. And then when I trim this edge off, we'll move everything over and clamp that too so we can get both doors. Sand off the edges, make sure it looks real nice. There you go. Now you add some more staples around the back. I don't glue them. I don't really see a need to. You can. I have. But take this over the sander, sand up the edges, get all the rough little frilly marks off, and there you go. You have got two pretty nice doors. And all I did was use scrap from what I bought. This was cabinet wood, and then this was the same skin that I used on the roof and everywhere else. So after poly, this will be a little lighter than this, so it'll kind of give it a light dark contrast. So there you have it. There's your doors. I took them over there and sanded it all down. You see it's nice and smooth, pretty. All four sides. Who cares what the back looks like? You're not going to see them too often. Next one. Identical doors, the exact same. So, a couple coats of poly and these should be ready to go on. So, they're good and they're not flimsy. They don't. So, that gives you lots of screw surface for the hinges and also for the door pull. So, now, These doors are going to open like this. I was going to do it like this, but up and down, but in this one, it just don't work. So they'll open up against the wall. Now these hinges I use, you just mount the cabinet door right to put this on the back. So here's where you're going to mount it. Put that on the back, just like that. And then you hold the door up and you install it. I'm going to measure, which I know is already 14. And then you can go 7 is a half, and then half of that is 3 1/2. And that's where you're going to want to put your hinge, the center hole, excuse me, center hole of your hinge. Now if you have your screws, you can go ahead and screw them, pre-drill if you want, or whatever you want to do. So now they need some polyurethane, and I am letting Cricket do that. Thanks for hanging out with us. Next week I think we're going to take on the skin. I did not show how I install the cabinet doors or the cabinet face. The way I do is I just put pocket holes in the side of the cabinet face and mount them to the wall. You can also take some brad nails and fasten it to your shelf. So I thought that was pretty self-explanatory on how to do, so I didn't cover it too much. With that being said, thanks for hanging out with me, and until next week, build on.